Nippon Hoso Podcast Station.
This week's phrase is from 武田先生。I'm gonna say it. 君たちが弱いということは伸びしろがあるということ。こんな楽しみなことはないでしょう。So 伸びしろがある。伸びしろがある has tons of different ways to translate. Forward. Oh, that's hard. Pretend that you have a golf ball in your mouth. Anime English Club with Sally Amaki. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Anime English Club. Can't believe we made it to episode 2. Hi everyone. I'm your host, Sally Amaki. And the Anime English Club is a podcast where we use anime as a bridge to help connect our listeners to the English world. Each episode we explore a different line or scene from an anime and discuss how we could say it in English. Anime is what brought me to Japan, so I hope it can also be a tool for everyone to learn and enjoy English. This week we're also going to be talking about Haikyu as well. So I just want to remind you guys that my very lovely Kuro Tetsuro is right in front of me. I actually had the time to go to Sendai, the Miyagi prefecture where Haikyu took place. Well, Nekoma is from Tokyo, but Karasuno Koko, the main team, is from Sendai. And I did a little anime pilgrimage, or seijijunne, as you would say it. I went around the Kame Arena, which was one of the arenas that Karasuno High School had their tournaments in. I didn't know they were closed on Mondays. Guys, if you guys are... It's not even closed every Monday. They're literally only closed once a month. And I went that day. And then I went to Tsukishima Kei's Haikyu. They tell us what kind of profession the boys went into after they did volleyball or after they graduated high school. And Tsukishima actually is... He's a staff member at a museum for Sendai. And I wanted to go look at his workplace. They're also closed on Mondays, so I couldn't go anywhere. So yes, I went to Sendai for an anime pilgrimage, but I literally saw nothing. So I would like to go again. I don't know, maybe if this podcast becomes super big, we can take you guys to Sendai together and we can all go together. So yes, so without further ado, we're not going to be talking about Sendai this week. We're going to be talking about Tokyo this week. We're going to be talking about Karasuno team visiting Nekoma High School on their spring training in Tokyo. So let's get started! So like last episode, we are going to continue discussing Haikyu. For those of you that do not know, Haikyu was created by Haruichi Furudate and originally published in Weekly Shonen Jump. The anime adaptation was first released in 2014. It follows the Karasuno Volleyball Club, an underdog team from Miyagi Prefecture, as two new rookies, Hinata and Kageyama, bring new life and new possibilities to the team. Underdog. How would you say underdog in Japanese? Underdog ってなんだろう？弱小チーム。そう。烏野高校はですね、弱小チームだったんですけど、they were the underdogs. でも、どんどん強くなっていくんです。There are so many more scenes and points we can learn from Haikyu. So, without further ado, let's get started to today's phrase. One of my favorites. Actually, all these phrases are my favorites. This week's phrase is from 武田先生. I'm gonna say it. 君たちが弱いということは伸びしろがあるということ。こんな楽しみなことはないでしょう。Being weak means you have room for improvement. There is nothing better to look forward to. So this line comes from the faculty advisor and head coach of the Karasuno High School Boys Volleyball Club, Takeda Sensei, during episode 5 of season 2, during the spring training camp being held at Nekoma High School, which is in Tokyo. Historically, Karasuno was considered one of the main rivals of Nekoma, but in recent years, they haven't been considered decent practice by the Nekoma team. They're just a weak team right now, so far. But things will change because Hinata and Kageyama came into Karasuno High School. And even though the Karasuno team has started improving and it looks like they might finally become a respectable team, they have their hopes destroyed after being blown out by Nekoma. Blown out is an understatement. They were like, it was like a car accident. It was, oh my gosh, yeah. The combination of Hinata and Kageyama, which had led the team to success that they hadn't seen in years, was completely stopped by the Nekoma team's new star, Rievu Haiba. And this phrase, Takeda Sensei uses this opportunity to reassure his team and make their feelings of despair a positive, forward-looking experience. Hi. This kind of gave me motivation as well. Like, reading it, being weak means you have room for improvement. There's nothing better to look forward to. Yeah, because I remember when I used to go to the voice acting booths, I was so bad. My pronunciation, my Japanese pronunciation, you can tell I was not a native speaker. But after reading Takeda Sensei's phrase, I was like, yeah, if I'm the worst right now, that means I have like the, biggest chance to improve. So made me feel better as well. So this time we want to focus on how they translated Japanese without a direct translation into English. So 伸びしろがある. 伸びしろがある has tons of different ways to translate. There's 伸びしろ, so you have room for improvement. You have potential. What else is there? Room for growth. Shows promise? Is that? There's just so many different ways, but I guess in this case, it was a positive, 伸びしろがある was used in a positive way by Takeda Sensei, so I guess the best translation, I think the best translation would have been potential, but the used, you have room for improvement. Room for improvement kind of gives me a negative vibe, right? So, yeah. Improvement implies that you aren't where you should be yet.
I think the reason why it's improvement is because Takeda Sensei has such high expectations for them.
Oh, that's so sweet.
He thinks that they should be better than they are. It's improvement. Potential or like room for growth are you're good now, but you could be better. Whereas improvement says you aren't where you should be and you should be better.
Oh. I used this similar phrase to one of my idol group members once, and I accidentally made her cry. Yeah, this is, so Takeda Sensei in this case, he said it to his, students. Nobody cried. They were all encouraged. So I tried using, the similar phrase to one of my members. When we first became an idol, we had dancing lessons, singing lessons, and acting lessons every week. But one of our dance teachers got really mad at my former member, my current best friend, Moe Suzuhana. She said that, she's not improving at all, and, she's super bad. She needs to, keep up. And I wanted to, she started crying, so I wanted to make her feel better. So I was like, if you're the worst on the team right now, that means, you have the most, growing potential. Yeah. But the reason she started crying after I said that is because the teacher never said she was the worst. It was me. I put words in the teacher's mouth. I was like, if you're the worst right now, that means the biggest growth potential. And she started crying. She's like, she never told me I was the worst. And I'm like, oh no, did she not? But you know what? You know why we're best friends now? It was because I wasn't afraid to tell her that she was the worst during that time. Straight to her face. She's literally my best friend. I called her this morning as well. We're off track. Going back on track. こんな楽しみなことがないでしょう. 楽しみ also has many different ways to translate it. There were more than 10 different ways to translate 楽しみ in the dictionary.
Yeah, looking it up on online dictionaries, there were over 10 different ways to translate.
This is why Japanese is so hard. Japanese is so hard. You gotta read between the lines, but yeah, so some of the translations there are is I can't wait, I'm so excited, I'm stoked. But in this translation, it was look forward to. So I feel like they use this because I'm stoked would be too charai. It's charai. I'm stoked is kind of like a wakamono kotoba. The youngsters use it. Takeda, it would be, oh my god, it would be funny though if you know the story and Takeda Sensei was like, I'm stoked for your improvement. that would not follow his characters, but I can't wait wouldn't be a bad translation as well. I can't.
Can't
But-
wait is more like machikirenai.
Machikirena, yeah, it has too much like enthusiasm to it. Yeah. I'm so excited also has too much enthusiasm. Yeah. So if you lose like a volleyball tournament and you're feeling super sad, your coach isn't going to be like, I'm so excited because you guys are so bad right now. You guys can like improve so much. I'm so excited. Like you wouldn't say that. So that's why in this case, they wouldn't translate tanoshimi into like something that's enthusiastic. They would translate it into like look forward to like, hey, like you guys are bad right now, but let's look forward to like the brighter future. You guys can improve. Yeah. It's like a nicer, mellow way of saying tanoshimi. Yeah. If you think you're the type of person that is like Takeda Sensei, kind of formal to everybody, I would say not very young. Takeda Sensei is still in his 20s, I think. But like if you're not the kind of like person that's like, hey, you wouldn't use stoked. You'd use even in if you want to be like enthusiastic about something, you wouldn't say stoked. Please do not use that vocab if you are not, paripi. All right, let's go to the pronunciation. All right, so this week's phrase was, I'm going to say it again. 君たちが弱いということは伸びしろがあるということ。こんな楽しみなことはないでしょう。Being weak means you have room for improvement. There is nothing better to look forward to. Being weak means you have room for improvement. There is nothing better to look forward to. What would be the hardest part to pronounce? Improvement? Oh, we have a Japanese speaker right next to us. What's 英語で一番このセンテンスで難しいなって感じること。Forward. That's true. Forward. People say forward. Forward. It is not forward. It is forward. Oh, that's hard. Forward. Pretend that you have a golf ball in your mouth. Forward, Yeah, forward. Or, like, forward. When you're brushing your teeth and you still have water in your mouth, but you don't want to swallow it? That's the kind of mouth you want to make. Right? Forward, like pretend you're a frog and you we're pretending many things right now. Pretend you're a frog brushing your teeth right now and you don't want to swallow that water. So make your throat, open your throat like that and like kind of push forward your chin, like your chin a little bit. Forward. Oh no, forward. And there you have it. I guess you can practice it while you brush your teeth, I guess.
Yeah.
Forward. Yeah. So try to not swallow anything and you can say forward really easily. You. でも you とか to を I feel like they say it, like you guys say it too straight. You, to. Yeah, a lot of the people that are starting off their pronunciation, they tend to straighten out the words too much, like you, to. It's more like you, to. Like, try digging a hole with your pronunciation. 穴を掘る感じで you, to. to はいいや。to はあれです。You're spitting at somebody. to. That's literally what it feels like. Like to. That's the flow you want to go with. So
nothing.
これも bite your tongue. nothing ってなると you're speaking behind your teeth. Become a horse. Literally, and stick out your tongue. Nothing. 結構全部ベロかもしれないですね。I feel like everything comes from the tongue. Nothing. 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 似てるなんか発音あるかな日本語で。I wonder if there's like something that's similar. So I guess put your tongue between your teeth and then try blowing out some air and get used to that feeling of and then say nothing. And then there you have it. Nothing. I guess you can say it. So we'll say it one last time. Being weak means you have room for improvement. There is nothing better to look forward to.
アニメイングリッシュクラブ with サリー・アマキ。
Oh, I wanted to talk about this. Yeah, I feel like the club sports are very different. The club sport culture is very different in Japan and overseas. Yeah, I feel like not just volleyball, not just Haikyu, but like baseball too. There's a thing called Koshien, which is Japanese high school baseball tournaments. The whole entire country basically watches TV, you know, like rooting for a certain team. I would never, like, you would never see that overseas, or I've never seen it before. But in Japan, a lot of the times, people would go to a certain school just because they have, like, a really strong volleyball team. And Haikyu as well, everybody was surprised that Kageyama went into Karasuno High School because, like, it was such a weak team by the time he went in, and everybody, he was such a star player in his middle school days, so everybody thought he was going to go to like Aoba Josai, but because Aoba Josai, Oika was there, his like rival, so he didn't want to go there, so he went somewhere different. So yeah, like the surprise people had on their faces kind of has like a cultural significance, you know, because like, why would you choose a school based on the club sport? Oh, which also reminds me, Haikyu puts a lot of depth into the managers that they have. Like Kyoko Senpai and Yachi-san, they're managers of the Karasuno volleyball team, but you wouldn't really see student managers overseas, right? Yeah. That was always a dream of mine because I watched so many anime. I wanted to become a manager of some team. So when I first came to Japan, I tried signing up to become a manager for the lacrosse team from my college. But their practices started at 6 a.m. Who wakes up at 6 a.m.? No, you didn't even have to wake up at 6 a.m. Practice starts at 6 a.m. And I used to live in the college dorms. The college dorms, they were always locked. The doors opened at 5. But it took me over an hour to go to school. It's like, I couldn't become a manager. My college dorm prohibited me from becoming the manager. Like, I signed up. I emailed like the club team and everything. I was like, I'm really interested in becoming a manager and everything. But day one of practice, I tried opening the gates and it was locked. Literally prison. But yeah. So a lot of different cultural differences in club activities, I guess. So the way people encourage one another is also different, I guess, in cultures. Would you say? Yeah.
In general, I would say yeah.
In general, I feel like I wouldn't say aggressive, but I feel like encouraging words in English is a bit more like aggressive, you know, not like in a bad way, like in a really good way, like you can do it, you know, like punch your shoulder kind of way. Whereas in Japanese, I feel like they're kind of poetic with their words, wouldn't you say? Like, none of my teachers growing up, like, sit me down, be like, you know, you being bad means you have room for improvement. Like, nobody did that. They were always like, you can do it. Like, I don't have any 根拠はないけど. Like, I don't, yeah. 根拠はないけど. 根拠はないけどっていうことなんだろう。根拠はないけど. There's so many Japanese phrases that you can't really like.
Yeah, 根拠はないけど. There's like, I don't really have a reason,
yeah,
but...
I don't have a reason, but I know you can do it is kind of like the mentality that a lot of my American public school teachers had. But, yeah, I feel like in Japan, when people try to encourage you, they try to give you a reason first of why they think you can do it, you know? And like, you practice so hard so you can do it. Like, you know, だから みたいな. They use the word だから みたいな. Yeah. So... But I guess that also means that if you don't have a reason, they also don't have a reason to, like, encourage you. You know? Right? Like,
Yeah.
I felt this a lot while my brother used to do baseball. And whenever he would strike out, you know, a lot of the coaches would be like, nice hustle. You know, they would like encourage you either way, even if you were like a terrible player. But when he came to Japan and he started doing baseball, if he struck out, like, you were terrible. Like the coaches would throw their gloves at you and everything. Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. I felt a cultural difference there too. But yeah, I feel like in English they encourage you a lot without any reason. But in Japan, like in Japanese, like you need a reason to be encouraged. You know, you can't just like be standing there and get encouragement. So yeah.
So your parents were Japanese, but
yes.
You were brought up in America.
Yeah.
Do you think your parents were more Japanese or English, and like your encouragement and how like you grew up?
How did they encourage me? I feel like I don't know. They never really encouraged me in the way of like saying like you can do it. It was more of like it's okay if you can't do it. You know, like for instance in here Takeda sensei is saying like you have room for improvement. Like you said earlier, he thinks that like they have more potential to grow, you know. But maybe my parents didn't think I had any potential to grow, so they just like accepted me for who I was. I love you, Mom and Dad. They accepted me for who I was. So they never, like, encouraged me to do more. Yeah, they just said, like, they were always like, it's okay. You don't need to do more. Yeah.
What about with figure skating?
Oh, with figure skating? The coaches were super nice when I used to do figure skating in America. And then when I came to Japan, I was surprised with how strict the coaches were. It was the same with what I said about my brother. Like, if I was terrible, I was terrible. Like, they would just laugh at me. They wouldn't even laugh. Like, what did they do? They would straight out tell me that I had no potential and I probably couldn't go to the Olympics. Yeah. But, I mean, in a case, I guess that's a bit nicer. You know, like, if you don't have the talent, just, like, tell me straightforward so that I don't have to, like, put so much like time and effort into this, you know. I could be having fun. But yeah, none of my coaches in America told me, so I ended up being a figure skater for more than 10 years. And look at me now, haven't touched the rink in like 10 years. All that hard work for nothing. But anyway. Yeah, what were we talking about? Words of encouragement? I guess it depends on the person. It depends on the person, doesn't it? I wouldn't, yeah. At the end of the day, I guess it depends on the person, you know. You can be American, you can be Japanese, you can be whatever you want, you know. But, yeah, I guess the atmosphere, or just like...
I think it's more personal,
yeah,
personality-based than
personality-based, yes. Yes. Personality-based. Yeah, and that's why this quote is so significant, because Takeda sensei has a very yawarakai, soft personality. So the way he's phrasing this is very soft. Yes, his words of encouragement are very soft. ということで, that does it for this episode of the English Anime Club. Make sure to follow us on X and other social media. Next time will be our last Haikyu episode where we finally explore the dynamic between Kageyama and Hinata with one of the most famous quotes from the anime. See you there! そして, the English Anime Club wants to hear from you. Whether it's a scene or anime you want me to talk about, or general English questions, or you just want to say hi, we want to hear from you. So email us at aec@1242.com. That's aec@1242.com. The Anime English Club is now on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/anime-english-club to watch us on YouTube with subtitles. Perfect for everyone trying to learn. From the Nippon放送podcast station, this is the Anime English Club hosted by me, Sally Amaki. This episode was written by Carlos Yabuki, directed by Gavin Chedisker, and was produced by Shiori Tanaka of Nippon Broadcasting System, Japan.